Hello, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Aaron James, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Right, so fresh off the back of Philippe Clement being sacked as Rangers manager, Rangers today announced the team that would be replacing Philippe until the end of the season, and I'm pleased to say that the club have gone with an interim manager until the end of the season, which I think is the sensible option. Then, obviously, if the takeover is completed, finalised by June, it gives the Niners Enterprises, the owners, Parag Marathe and others, chance to appoint their own man. And I think, look, we have to kind of give a different perspective to that appointment now, because of the fact that we do have owners who have, we will have, well, hopefully we will have owners who have money, owners who are willing to be ambitious, owners who are willing to perhaps put their money where their mouth is when it comes to appointing a new manager. So I think that was obviously, something for future discussion. However, I want to kind of talk about the fact that the boys are back in town. Yep, I've almost got like an image today of Barry Ferguson, of Billy Dodds, Alan McGregor, walking back through the Neil McCann walking back through the doors of Ibrox in Blues Brothers style suit, hat, and dark glasses, as if to say, "Hey boys, we're back, and we're back. We're back." And we mean it. And I think, this is a very interesting appointment that will certainly shake things up towards the end of this season. And I tell you something, any player who thinks they can hide, any player who thinks that this is an opportunity to get away with murder until the end of the season, will have another thing coming. In Barry Ferguson, former Rangers captain, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, and of course Alan McGregor, Shagger himself, you have people who are not going to suffer fools gladly, who are certainly going to kick some arse and take some names when it comes to sorting this team out. I think it's absolutely fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating for me that that Barry Ferguson, former club captain, present real genuine club captain, a proper captain of Rangers, and a real Hall of Famer, someone who actually deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, is taking charge of the team. Now, I've read some comments online slagging Barry Ferguson off and saying this is the bad appointment, etc., etc. I do get the feeling with some of our fans that even if we appointed Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, they would find a problem with that. I think some people are just never happy. But I think this is a good appointment. I think this is the right appointment to the end of the season. We've put into place obviously people who understand the club, people who get this club, people who can sort of school the players that are here presently as to what it means to play for Rangers and how to play for Rangers. Barry Ferguson himself once said, you've got 10 minutes, impress us. And Neil McCann is someone who's looked at the club. He's spoken very, very intelligently about the problems at the club. He spoke on Sports Scene about the negativity of the play. He spoke about the constant going backwards, the slowness, the passivity of the play. Something that hopefully he can help put right now, along with Billy Dodds, obviously, who will help the strikers a great deal. And of course, Alan McGregor, who will work with Jack Butland, hopefully to get his confidence back, and also as well work with Mason Munn and Liam Kelly. Isame Chari is the only man who remains in place from the previous regime. It was announced obviously as well today that Alex Ray, Colin Stewart and Stefan van der Heyden have also all left the club as well. Van der Heyden, obviously, who was closely allied to Clement. Colin Stewart's been there for a long, long time. Maybe took this as an opportunity to move on, a changing of the guard in effect in terms of the goalkeeping coach. Alan McGregor, I think, will obviously take on those duties until the end of the season. Alex Ray, as I said the other day, apart from putting out the cones and kind of taking that, for those of you who've seen Mike Bassett, England manager, I think it's Bradley Walsh or someone, or not Bradley Walsh, I can't remember the name of the guy who plays him, but the guy who plays his assistant, who basically just repeats everything that Mike Dodd says. I think you've perhaps got an element of that with Alex Ray, with Philippe Clement, that Philippe Clement shouts something and Alex Ray just repeats what he says. I think that's kind of the impression I got of Alex Ray in his time coaching the team. Now look, I think this appointment is all about putting some sort of steel back into the team, putting the fear of God back into the players, in terms of getting us through to the end of the season, and that's what this is about. And I think that's the way we've got to look at this. It is about getting them through to the end of the season. It is about getting the best out of them. And I can guarantee you one thing, that when we come to play Celtic at Parkhead or at Ibrox, when we come to play any game between now and the end of the season, Ferguson, McCann, Dodds and McGregor will not allow these players to hide. They will not allow these players to shirk. They will not allow these players to basically be serial bottlers and serial losers. They will not tolerate it under any way, shape or form. I think it's the right move. It is the right move for me. It's a good move. It's a very good move from the club. Brian Gilmore will remain at Rangers as the bridge between the academy and the first team, which is interesting that he is remaining. The ongoing football review will continue and a new permanent manager will be appointed in the coming months. Now, obviously, I think that will be with the guidance of the 49ers Enterprises owners. I think this football review very much was put in place by them, the Americans doing their due diligence. Now, someone who has spoke today, which is interesting, is Patrick Stewart, the CEO of Rangers, a man who really has made himself look rather stupid with his comments of recent times. The way he backed his manager, then re-backed his manager, and then sacked his manager. Anyway, it was interesting to see what he had to say. Philippe and his team have worked tirelessly during their time at the club and have played an important role in developing the first team's young players, which I think is an absolute load of bullshit, an absolute load of rubbish. Clement has done nothing at this club to improve the young players, so I think that really does show a lack of understanding of what has happened at the club from Patrick Stewart. I mean, to say that he's developed young players is pathetic. You tell me. I mean, Ross McCausland was already playing for the first team when Clement came in. Hamza Rigman, he's destroyed his confidence. Bailey Rice barely gets a look in and then gets slagged off when he does. Finley Curtis signs a new deal and then never gets a look in. Paul Ncio gets the odd minute here and there. Zach Lovelace leaves because he's frustrated. So to say that he worked well with the first team's young players, I think is just absolutely pathetic and just an absolute load of rubbish from Patrick Stewart, showing what an absolute moron he really is. I want to reiterate the issues we are facing run deeper than the manager. The ongoing football review seeks to address those issues, and we will continue to implement its findings in the coming weeks and months ahead of appointing a new permanent manager, which, we know some of those things. Obviously, the board might be a sporting director. We know that obviously finance is an issue, which hopefully now will be addressed when the 49ers Enterprises take over the club. When I spoke to Rangers TV last week, I was clear that everyone is judged on results and nobody will get unlimited time in any role at the club. Ultimately, the team's response following their early exit from the Scottish Cup was a cause for deep concern, leading for the board to conclude that action had to be taken now. At no point, Patrick, did you say in that interview that people are judged on results, and you basically said that it was not that Clement was remaining because of the Europa League and because of challenging for the Europa League. So for me, again, you are talking utter bollocks, utter rubbish yet again. I want to wish Philippe every success in the future. He's a fine man who I have enjoyed working with in my short time here so far. I also want to welcome Barry back to the club. We appreciate him and his team stepping into the role at this difficult time. Myself and the board and the executive team will give them our full support for the rest of the campaign, which obviously is standard stuff. But I've got to say that statement from Patrick Stewart is just an absolute load of lies from beginning to end. It is absolute rubbish from him. Yet more proof that this guy is an absolute joke, an absolute loser of a CEO and someone who genuinely doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he's come from one of the worst run clubs in football to probably one of the other worst run clubs in football, which hopefully will change. I think Parag Marathe, Jed York, if the Niners do complete their takeover of the club, we'll look at what Stewart said and just say, that man's a joke, and hopefully we'll sack him as soon as they take full control and put one of their own people in charge who can take this club forward, because it's quite clear to me that Patrick Stewart doesn't have an absolute Scooby-Doo what he's talking about half the time. Anyway, guys, I think overall positive news is that we've got a Rangers man in charge. We've got a man who will take no nonsense, a former Rangers captain, a real former Rangers captain, a real Hall of Famer, accompanied by some proper boys who will take no shit. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this appointment. Thank you for watching the video. As always, guys, on the way out, please smash the sub, like, comment and share. And remember always, we are the people.